My never I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
But just before we woke up, we heard that is happening in Gabon. The military has announced that about 12 officers were on TV, and they've announced that they have seized power in Gabon. They just had elections. Omar Bongo's son, Ali Bongo, and he was declared a winner by 64%. The opposition has disputed this election. The military say they've taken over. I think in January of last year or so, there was a coup that did not succeed in that country. But this is what's happening in Gabon at the moment. We're here to hear from Ali Bongo and his government on this issue. So far, it is the military that has appeared on Gabon TV, Gabon 24, and they have announced this. What's happening?
Well, let me start with Niger and the tiff between the French government and the Nigerian authorities. If you read the situation in Niger very carefully, it does appear that the United States of America has completely outsmarted France. What has the U.S. done? The U.S., in the midst of all these crises, has appointed a new ambassador to Niger and has actually begun talks with Niger. This is a de facto recognition of the government in Niger, And that would show that the U.S. has completely outmaneuvered France, in Niger. Of course, it's to be understood. As we all do know, the U.S. has the largest drone base, the second largest drone base in the world, stationed in Niger. So it has an interest there, or claims to have an interest there. Again, Niger has huge quantities of uranium, which all the so-called major powers are interested in. And the U.S. maneuver, in spite of its leadership of NATO and France's membership of NATO, is very interesting. It must be studied by all those who want to understand international relations, that even countries like the United States and France could have divergent interests in a country. As for Gabon, who was not expecting a coup d'etat in Gabon? I don't know of one person who was not expecting a coup d'etat in Gabon. As a matter of fact, if you look at the measures which were instituted by the government of Ali Bongo, in the run-up to the elections and after the elections, they all point to panic, severe panic. And of course, I was expecting a coup d'etat in Gabon. I'm still expecting coup d'etats in 4 more countries.
4 more?
4 more countries. I think the 4 more countries are going to fall very, very soon. Possibly before the end of the year, we should expect about 2 or 3 countries to fall. And 4 more countries are likely to fall in Africa, to coup regimes. But hey, everybody was expecting this coup d'etat in Gabon for many reasons. One family has been in power for 53 long years. And that family has not been in power for 53 long years because it was loved by the people of Gabon. That family has been in power for 53 years because it imposed itself on the people, rigged elections, harassed opposition leaders, banned political parties, arrested trade union leaders, and so on. That's how it managed to sustain itself in power over the 53 years. And there's a point to which people say that they would not allow you to go any further. And Gabon has reached that point, So I'm not surprised at all. I don't think that this coup attempt is going to fail. I don't think it's going to fail. There are signs that it's a very popular coup. If you go on the net, and I've been on the net this morning, the signs are that it's a very, very popular coup d'etat. Now, in analyzing this coup d'etat in Gabon, I think there are a number of things that we should do. we should try and identify what is universal to all the coups. And then also look at the specifics. Because they all do not come about by the same factors. There's the general universal things that affect all the countries and which instigate the coup d'etat, like the behavior of governments which are not accountable, governments which want to stay in power by all means possible, governments which subvert the national constitution and so on. Those are universal. You can find that in Burkina Faso, you can find that in Mali, you can find that in Guinea, Niger, and also in Gabon. But there are also specifics, things which are unique to the different countries. Now, if we take Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Guinea, there's something which is specific to those four countries, and that is the Islamic insurgency. And you don't have that situation in Gabon. So that's an added factor, to the misbehavior of governments across the sub-region. Now, the coup in Gabon and other coups likely to follow will make this West African leaders, threat to invade Niger look even more reckless and unrealistic. Look, this phenomena is going to spread. Now, if we decide to go and fight in Niger, where will the fighting stop? Are we going to plunge the whole of the sub-region into war? And if we are going to plunge the whole of the sub-region into war, when is it going to end? Now, Randy, there's another dimension that people have not averted their minds to. Niger currently faces the threat of Islamic insurgency. Okay. So let's say the West African leaders manage to send soldiers to Niger. The soldiers manage to overthrow the military government and reinstate the civilian government. What happens after that? Are the West African leaders going to station their troops in Niger permanently? Or they will reinstate Bazoum and leave? Now, if they reinstate Bazoum and leave, what happens to the Islamic insurgency? In a matter of weeks, the insurgents will arrive in the capital, Niamey, and catch the president and eat him up like sausage. You understand? So, that's not a solution. Now, there's something else that I think we need to look at. Clearly, these are popular coup d'etats. All of them. Niger, Benin, Mali. They're all very popular coup d'etats. But we've seen popular coup d'etats in the past. Many popular coup d'etats in the past. Now, what happens? The popular coup regimes come, they stay in power usually for a couple of years, and then they go back to constitutional drafting, they draft new constitutions, we hold elections, and bring civilian governments, which come and repeat the same mistakes of previous civilian governments, creating conditions for new coup d'etats. So there's an endless cycle which does not improve our political, economic, and social conditions. Coup d'etat, return to civilian rule. Coup d'etat, return to civilian rule. We've got to break that cycle. So we have to pay attention to what is it that will turn these popular coup d'etats into popular mass movements of the people. What is it that we can do so that we do not just stage coup d'etats, bring in civilian, have transitional government, bring in civilian administrations which go back to misbehave in order to warrant another coup d'etat? What is it that is missing in the equation? What is it that all of us as Africans, as citizens of this world, have to do in order that we shall begin to move forward and avoid these civilian coup leaders? There's all these, many of these people who claim to be democratically elected and so on. When you come to Black Stars, they are all coup leaders. They are not doing anything different from what coup leaders do. The same, you understand? So I think it's the challenge that all of us face. Yes, Burkina Faso, there's a young, popular military leader. What is the future of Burkina Faso beyond this individual who is popular, beyond this individual who is saying all the things that those who believe in African unity and African prosperity want to hear. Beyond him, what happens? That's the question, the critical question that faces us. Because otherwise, it will happen, the cycle, you know. You stage a coup d'etat, you are popular, there is some pressure, you write a new constitution, you hand over to a civilian government, the same things that led to a coup d'etat will happen again, then there's another coup d'etat. That cycle must be broken.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.
Maneva na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there ose dem yopo